In the last segment, we used VegaLite to plot data on a map. But the problem with VegaLite was that we couldn't do zooming or panning or things that we are normally used to. For this reason, we will be using Leaflet, which is an open source JavaScript library. Leaflet will allow us to use openly available tile maps. So, first thing first, let's import Leaflet using the require command, and to use it, we also need to include its CSS file as well. The problem with Leaflet is you cannot use topo.json data. For this reason, we will be using the GeoJSON dataset. If we take a look at the documentation of Leaflet and its usage example, you'll be able to see that Leaflet is using its map function and assigning that to a div in HTML. But since we don't have a div in D3, we need to create a DOM first. So let's create the DOM element. We will create a div and also assign a style to it. Copy pasting it. Notice that these quotations are not the normal quotations, they are the backticks. We need to also yield this container. We will then use the documentation l.map, assign it to our container. Then we will set the view in the map to the longitude and latitude of Vancouver, and we will also specify a zoom level. You can get this information in the documentation, where the first parameter is the latitude and the longitude, and the second is the zoom level. So we set the zoom level to 11.5. Next, let's create a tile layer. We will use this openly available tile layers, where you can choose different type of maps. To include them in D3, all you have to do is to copy paste this part, put it here, and assign that or add that to our map. And there you have the map of Vancouver. So the next thing that we want to do is to add a layer to this map. As I said before, you cannot work with topo.json on Leaflet, so we will be using GeoJSON here. So let's take a look at the documentation of GeoJSON. So you need to assign a data, add some stylings to it, you need to bind it to the layer, and finally add it to the map. So let's directly copy paste this. Let's create a layer. Our GeoJSON data is Vancouver areas. We will not use a function for the styling. We will just say weight equals to something and color equals to something. As the properties, we will be using the name. Let's run this. Now we will fix this. Let's import a different version of Vancouver areas. Let's call it 2. Let's add that here. If you look at the data, So WAN areas have a properties called name. So we are using this, and we are using this in the pop-up function. Pop-up is similar to a tooltip. This areas layers got added to the map, and if you click on the map, you'll see the pop-up showing up. Now in this map, you can zoom out, zoom in, and pan as well.